How long is your training? How extensive is it?
Well, I've already started training some of the guys in Crestview, and I'm planning on doing some tonight after we talk about just the job. But it's really, the job is in phases, if that makes sense. So the first phase, you're going out and you're meeting people and you're getting your customers and doing inspections. So it's pretty limited what you have to do in the very beginning. And I did not know anything. I didn't really get trained at all. I rode with the guy for a half a day and went to work, literally. But what I've done is I've explained what I did and how I got my customers and how I was prepared and how I handled it. And in about an hour and a half, 2 hours, I can tell you what you need to know to start. Now, when the second phase comes, you meet an adjuster, they do an estimate on the roof, then you go back and you look through the estimate and add anything that they left off and negotiate more money, basically, is what you're trying to do. And, but you don't need to know how to do that for, you know, I mean, it's a week or two process before you get to that point.
Okay.
And it can be a little overwhelming, I guess, is what I'm getting at, if you try to learn the whole job at the beginning.
Sure.
So for me, what I found was it worked really well. I'm focusing on, okay, this is what you have to do to get your customers. This is what you have to do. This is when you make your money, really. Your money's made when you at the beginning of the storm. First 4 or 5 weeks, that's when I made my money. I didn't get paid, but that's when because that's when I got all the customers. And once you're working with them, you're going through the process, you'll get referrals, you'll get their neighbors, you know, but your initially is just getting out there, meeting people, getting contracts signed. And that's one of the biggest things. It's not as hard as people think it is. So, you know, somebody will say, oh, I'm not signing anything. It's like, I don't even hear that. I just keep doing what I'm doing, and I still ask them to sign. Some guys think that they actually asked somebody to sign because they said no, but they didn't. They never actually asked. So, I mean, just things like that. I mean, it really is it's extremely unique because you're dealing with something that they need, whether they know it or not. And they paid, you know, they paid for the insurance, so they should be getting, you know, their roof replaced.
Sure.
I'm Bob.
And it's free almost. They pay a deductible. Some deductibles are $500. $20,000 roof, $500.
Yeah.
Pretty good deal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So would we be considered an independent contractor? Do we work
Last year I was a 1099 independent contractor. Advantage to that obviously is taxes. You can avoid a lot of taxes that way. We are switching to employees for a couple of reasons. One, we're offering benefits, 401k, matching, health, dental vision, all that I'm not sure yet, but I know we're doing medical and 401k for sure. The other reason we're doing it is some states we couldn't work in last year because we were independent contractors. There's a huge storm in Pittsburgh. I want to say the two other big companies that do this did 40 million there or something like that. We did 25 million our first year, which is great, but they did 40 million just in that location that we couldn't even work because we weren't employees. They have a state licensing law that if you're not an employee, so we're switching to that model.
So I looked on your website, and Affiliated Roofing's been around for 20-some years.
Affiliated Roofing's been around 25 years.
Yeah.
They've done commercial only until last year.
Okay.
My boss came, it's really weird, this storm chasing thing, there's a guy out of Waxahachie, Texas that started doing this 15 or 20 years ago. He was like the only one doing it. I don't know how he came up with the idea, but he was like, hey, you know, we'll just go and work for insurance money. I mean, it's a whole different thing than, you know, trying to sell roofing to somebody who's paying out of pocket because their roof's old, or you know, even working with builders or things like that, you know. And the insurance prices are set pretty much, you know, but you can negotiate with them. I mean, the office I was in last year, which was in Kansas City, was one of the lower profit margin areas. Farther north you go, the better the profit margin is, just period. The insurance pays more money. So I was in Kansas City. The office ended up at like 20–25% profit. I ended up at 35%, and that was from negotiating, you know, more money on the insurance contract.
That's a nice skill.
Yeah, and no, it is, and it was my first year last year, and I'm the best in the company. And it's not bragging, it's just true. I got things that nobody else,
I see that halo around your head.
yeah. No, I mean, I'll tell you, this job has been huge. Changed my life completely. 6 months. So, and what was your name?
I'm Jim Runge.
Oh, nice
Sorry
to
to
meet
be
you,
late.
Spencer. Yeah, that's okay.
Nice to meet you.
Well, I guess we'll get rolling here. Give it 15 minutes. First of all, I guess everybody knows I'm Spencer Pickard, and that's Bob McLean. I started last year, like I was just saying, with Affiliated. We had my boss, his name is Spencer also, Spencer Rudenbar. Weird for both of us, because it's an unusual name, and it's actually, yeah, so. Yeah, I started last year. I'd been offered the position a year before, really hesitant about traveling. I have 2 teenagers, did not want to go on the road, but my financial situation didn't improve the year that I didn't go. So when the opportunity came up again the next year, I went, and there was about 40, 50 people that showed up in Kansas City, and we had, maybe 15 out of 20 of them probably were returning salesmen, anywhere from been in the business for 2 years to 10 years. We ended up setting offices in Kansas City, Dallas, Knoxville, sort of, and Long Island. So we had like 5 offices last year. This year we plan on setting 20. But basically, I took the job just like, there's several people ahead of me, I guess, when I'm getting at in the hierarchy of the company, if you will. But it's they're extremely performance-based. After my first year, I had one guy that I sold 1.1 million, but I had a guy in my office that sold 1.3 million. I made twice as much money as he did though. So my profit margins were that much higher. He was promising things to people before he got extra money from the insurance company. He was trained poorly. It wasn't his fault. He's a smart guy, great guy, and hard worker. But I just came in, and my only goal was I was going to outwork everybody. That was my plan when I got there. Because you're going into an area, we went into Kansas City, there's 80,000 estimated claims in Kansas City. We had 50 guys. I sold 50 roofs. In 6.5 months, I made $200,000.
And what was the big mistake you did? It wasn't really your fault? You got there late?
Well, yeah, I got there a week and a half after the storm. And then I worked an area for a week that was, too many people had already been there. And when I got there, I was brand new, and we didn't really have a training session before we went. We had a meeting about all the pay and benefits and stuff like that. Some people told some stories and stuff like that, but nobody really went through the process a whole lot. I mean, we did have some training on site, but when I got there, I rode with the guy for half a day, and I just went to work. And they were training people to do things very different than the way I did them. I didn't reinvent the wheel. I'm not like the smartest guy in the world. I just did things the way that made sense to me. But that's the opportunity. I mean, I came into this with people who've been doing it for years, and was able to I made the most money in my entire company last year. There were several other guys between 100 and 200,000. But out of the 50, probably the average ended up being about 80 grand in 6 to 8 months. I mean, it's not a lot of money for that. For me, that wasn't a lot of money just to be away from my family. I had big vision when I wanted to make 300,000. I wanted to do 80 roofs. Ended up doing 45 and made 200. I was happy with that, for sure. I haven't worked since, other than this, I haven't worked since October. I got back to Crested Butte on October 29th, and I skied every day until I broke my leg. And then I started focusing on recruiting, and I have somewhere around 150 people that we're talking to that are interested in going. The cool thing about this is it doesn't matter how many people we take. There's enough, 80,000 claims, Some storms are 100,000 claims, 200,000 claims. Some storms people work for 3 years straight. Now, I probably wouldn't do that, but you know, some people have done that. I guess is what I'm trying to say. They're still selling jobs in Kansas City. It's not as easy. You know, the faster you get there, the faster you get going. If you're the first person there, your closing rate is going to be higher. That's just the way it is. So we're doing a lot of things to try to speed up that process. We want to get there, get the office set, and get people there as fast as we can to give you the opportunity to be the first one at the door. When I got there, you know, the reality is there's going to be a big map, and I'm horrible at drawing, just to tell you all the time. But I mean, there's going to be literally a big map, you know, it'll look whatever shape it is. I got one right now that's supposed to hit tomorrow. It's all over look, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and North Carolina.
It's pretty big, yeah.
Yeah, it looks huge. You know, you never know that it's predicted. It hasn't happened yet. But I got there and they have like the hail swath. And it'll have different colors. Like this is golf ball or baseball, and that's golf ball. You know, so you'll know where the greater damage is based on this hail swath. And it's not perfect. But when I got there, I rode with the guy for like half a day, showed me where he was working, told me what kind of houses I should go after. He said to go after the big wood shake houses. Kansas City has the largest percentage of wood shake houses in the country, for whatever reason. Did, at least, prior to the storm, because everybody switched. So some of the people were being trained, though, to go after this, you know, new guys go after the small, you know, cheaper roof houses, asphalt roof houses, and, you know, sketch and diagram and this and that. I went after the big houses with the big roofs, and I don't know how to measure a roof still. I never did it, didn't need to. I don't understand why anybody would. $25, $30, $40, I don't care how much it is. I made $5,000 a job last year. Now that's not typical. Some places you're gonna have to sell 80 jobs to get to $1 million. But when the jobs are smaller, they're faster, they're easier from start to finish. Insurance process is easier, building the roof is easier. So if you're in a market that has, you know, smaller jobs, you will be able to do more. In every storm, there's people that sell $1 million. $1 million is kind of the number for being extremely successful as a salesperson. I think that's going to change because I foresee $1.52 million this year with the technology. Because I know how I literally had to stop selling and I lost customers because I got bogged down in the paperwork. You'll still have to deal with the insurance companies on the phone. You're still going to have to email it off, but what you're not going to have to do is the data entry that I had to do last year. We had Excel spreadsheets and a stack of pricing, and then my printout of the roof, and I had to enter the measurements, and then I had to enter the pricing. And, you know, on a big, complicated, you know, job, you're talking, you know, hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. So now you're at the house with an iPad, and it's a drop-down menu, it's multiple choice. It's got this, it's got that, it's got this, it's got that. It links up with the aerial CAD, so it puts your estimate together and your order together. That's the other thing I had to do after I sold the job. And one of the reasons I was successful with the supplementing is what we call it when you increase the insurance claim. One of the reasons I was very successful at it is I would do that before I promised anybody anything about the roof, unless they wanted a roof that was inexpensive and I knew I could do it off the insurance paperwork. The other guy was promising top of the line roof to people before he negotiated with the insurance company. It meant I had to wait longer to turn jobs in, but when I turned my jobs in, they were profitable. And more profitable than everybody else. And I made more money, obviously, because it's a profit sharing. You know, you're not paid a small percentage in a salary in this job, which some people, you know, they want that because of security. But the reality is, if you're in a job that has a salary in sales, you're topping out at 100, 150. We have guys that make $400,000 in a regular hailstorm, and we got guys that make $1 million in a hurricane. Salespeople. Yeah. So that, I mean, does that mean you're guaranteed that? Absolutely not. You're gonna have to be good. You're gonna have to work hard, really. More than anything else, you just have to work hard. We have a guy in our company that he's African American from the ghetto, and he sounds like it. So you can imagine, right or wrong, the reality is there's people that don't want to deal with him. He runs from house to house, physically, sprints, no joke. And he works like 10 months a year, and he makes about 300 grand a year doing this. But he may need to talk to 50 people or 20 people to get one, whereas I may get 5 out of 20 or 5 out of 10, who knows? But he'll talk to enough people to get his, so point is you don't have to be a good salesperson. Obviously it's an advantage. I have another guy in the company last year that got to the storm, like right after it hit. He got about 10 customers in this really nice neighborhood. He sold about 800,000. And he after those 10 customers, he didn't go out and get more. He just worked their friends and family. He's really charismatic guy, developed that relationship. I mean, there's different ways to work the job is what I'm getting at. I was more in the middle. My goal was to work hard, but if somebody wants to talk, I'll talk as long as they want to. If that's what, and I'll talk about my kids and whatever it is they want to talk about. And then I got a lot of referrals, but I worked really hard. When I got there, and this is what I was kind of laughing about it when they said it about driving around. Maybe you'll get that chance, but it's hard to say if that's actually going to happen. What I will tell you though is we'll have a map. And what we did is everybody goes, okay, I want this neighborhood. And that was one of my big concerns coming into this. I've had a lot of sales jobs. I've had a lot of jobs. I've been in the working world for 20 years. And you can ask Bob, I've known him 20 years. I've never liked a job I had, ever.
Oh.
Ever. Hated every job I had.
And fighting with the supervisors.
I hated my bosses. I hated the way they ran it. I didn't understand why we did it this way. I don't care if you've done it that way for 30 years. It doesn't make sense. This job's not like that. They let me do what I wanted. And then when I started selling, they really let me do what I wanted. I went out of town if I wanted to. Hey, I'm gone next week. Okay. Because my customers called me, and I answered the phone, and then I took care of it, whatever it was. They didn't call the office because I don't return their calls, and they didn't have to deal with my people. I was self-sufficient. And if you're self-sufficient, it's, hey man, you're a commissioned salesperson. You can do what you want pretty much. Some of the guys played golf 2 or 3 days a week. They didn't make as much money, but they were okay with that. Yeah. If you're turning in jobs and you're making money and you're I'm not paying you to be there on a draw, you're getting commissions. I mean, it's your choice. Do you want to make 50, 100, 200? I mean, that's up to you. But I picked an area right in the middle of these big houses with, like, some of them had holes. I mean, it was really, really significant damage. And every door I knocked, 10, 15 roofers had been there. And I got a lot of appointments, but it just wasn't moving very fast. But I kept a positive attitude, and I feel like I developed a lot of my skills then, even though I wasn't very successful at that point. I was getting appointments. I was figuring out what the objections were and how I'm going to respond to them. So I worked this area for about 5 days. And then my boss, last year I had a GM, and then Spencer is the president of the residential part of the company. We have an owner and a president. The president of what we do is Spencer Rudmar. He came in for the weekend, had a meeting. All 50 of us are in there, and he's like, look, if you're in a neighborhood that every door you knock on, they've had 10 or 15 roofers, move. There's 80,000 claims here. Move. Oh, okay. That makes sense. So I actually went to an area that was really kind of out of the way. It's kind of a weird deal. I saw it. It was like fields here, and like everything else in here was neighborhoods. But it was like kind of out of the way, up on this hill, and sort of hidden, if you will. And I went in there, I drove around Saturday, looked at a couple neighborhoods, knocked a few doors, trying to figure out where I wanted to go. Monday morning, I went to that neighborhood. A lot of people said, oh, you got lucky with your neighborhood, because I mean, I took the neighborhood over. I had signs everywhere. Other roofers were like, Jesus, man. I mean, they'd come up to me and talk to me, and I knew I knew everybody in the neighborhood, whether they were my customer or not. I knew their names, knew their address, knew what their house looked like. I lived in the neighborhood. I was hanging out with them on Friday night sometimes, you know, with some of the guys. It was cool. But some of the people were like, oh, you got lucky, you know, with your neighborhood. Well, the reason I got that neighborhood is I worked 9 to 9, pretty much, 6 days a week for the first 6 weeks. They were telling everybody, you know, 4 to 8, 3 to 8, that's the prime time, that's when you need to be working, blah, blah, blah. And their logic was people aren't going to work all day like I did. I'm different. And I don't think that, to me, that doesn't make sense. I'm not going to be going to your house and waking you up and telling you to go work at 9 o'clock in the morning. But I'm going to recommend you do, because I knocked 3 doors, and the 4th door I knocked at like 9:30 on a Monday morning, retired couple, both of them were home, inspected their roof, went into their house, signed contract, signed in their yard, and it just started snowballing from there. And the guys that said I was lucky were in bed, waiting to go to work at 4. There are a lot of people that work out of their house. There are a lot of women that still stay home, and men. Retired people, obviously. So I saw that, you know, and I did take a lunch or a break in the middle of the day. I'm not saying I didn't do, I worked straight through and didn't do anything else. But I started around 9 and I finished somewhere around 9 o'clock at night. And it's an unbelievable amount of people that are actually home. And sometimes the people that are home, even if their spouse isn't there, they're like, yeah, do it, you know, whatever. You will have people that are like, oh, really? You can get me a new roof? Sure, where do I sign? Now, that's not everybody. In fact, it's not the majority, but it does happen. It really is a job where if you come and work hard, you will make a lot of money. It doesn't matter. I didn't worry about the profit margins. I had guys that worked Chicago the year before. Their profit, without supplementing, without adding anything, was coming in at like 40%. We were coming in at 20% from the insurance. But I didn't worry about that. In the beginning, all I did is got people. Once we were supposed to do 3 inspections a day. I set 10 to 15 appointments a day, and I did 5 to 10 inspections every day. I just went above everything they said. I worked longer, I tried to hit higher numbers, I had bigger goals. And it's the first time in my life that I've had a job where the company didn't do anything to give the guy who's been there 5 years an advantage over the guy that's brand new. And there's no territory that's better than other than, yeah, you could get, you know, if you go with me, we're going to go to some location and we could be in a lower profit margin or a higher profit margin area than some of the other GMs and their storms. I didn't worry about all that stuff, but I know this. I showed up, I didn't know anything about roofing, anything about construction. I had a lot of different jobs, which probably was beneficial because I could talk to anybody. I knew a little bit about everything. You know, whatever you do, I can probably talk to you about it, somewhat competently. But yeah, I mean, it really was a sheer effort. I mean, and it was crazy. I mean, my wife would call and I couldn't put an intelligible sentence together because I had so many things going on at the same time. Yeah, and it's a weird business. It's extremely unique, it's extremely unusual, and that's what makes it great. Because the reality is you're kind of selling something that's free. They're not paying for it. Their insurance company is. They have a deductible, And most of the time, I got them to pay their deductible. A lot of people waive deductibles and things like that. That's something we'll talk about. You have to be really careful. It's kind of a gray area. It's definitely a gray area compared to letting them keep money, which then is felony and fraud. And there are people that do that. I won't work with somebody like that, obviously. We won't do things like that as a company. I showed up and I ended up moving. But I'll tell you, Bob and I were both in the Border Patrol when we were air marshals. Actually lived here when we were air marshals. And what I did when I went to work is I kind of reverse engineered it from what we were trained in law enforcement. Law enforcement, you want to be intimidating. You want to keep people from challenging you physically. You want to avoid confrontation when possible. Looking sharp and all, like this, and kind of getting in people's faces and doing things like that, that show dominance, if you will, or whatever. So in my mind, I was like, I analyzed this so much that I actually thought everything through and what I did and I don't know how many jobs I got because I did this or didn't, because I did it the whole time. But I shaved every day, first thing. I wore khakis, tennis shoes, and a golf shirt, which is pretty standard. Well, standard in our company. You'll see other companies that sleeveless shirt. You'll see a lot of weird things in this industry. We are very different than several of the other companies that do this. And one of the companies is full of guys who used to be rodeo clowns and stuff like that. So you can imagine. And some of them make a hell of a lot of money, even though that's how they are. So you get somebody that's clean cut and stuff like that. It's a big advantage, I think. But I analyzed everything I did. I shaved. I carried two things. I carried three things. My cell phone. I carried brochures and door hangers. So what I did is I literally, law enforcement, you always want to see people's hands. And even people that aren't in law enforcement, some of them subconsciously feel more comfortable if they can see your hands. Hands are what's going to hurt you. It may seem silly, but to me, I analyzed it that detail. Like I said, I shaved and wore what I wore. And I would walk up to the door, I'd knock, I'd ring the doorbell. And most doorways, there's a stair or two, there's a little small area right there. Well, I'm not huge, but I'm not a small guy. So I would step back down like 6 or 8 feet from the door. And I had my door hangers and my flyers in my hands in front of me. And when they, open the door, I'd be like, hey, I'm Spencer Pickard, I'm with Affiliated Roofing. Have you had your roof checked out yet? That's what I said. I don't know, I didn't say it day one, but somewhere along the way, I guess it was because I was in that neighborhood where there's so many roofers that have been there already. It just made sense to me, I don't know. And it's kind of disarming, because you're like, well, and people, you'll hear all kinds of answers. Oh, you're the 15th roofer that's been here, is one. Or it could be, why? Well, there was a storm, 2 weeks ago, on April 11th. Did you know that? Oh yeah, I remember. And then you just go, hey, I just want to check the roof out. I've been working with some of your neighbors. I've been on some of your neighbors' roofs. I know that they're getting new roofs because their roofs are that damaged. And I just want to, I want to check the roof out for you. And then, and a lot of them are like, I don't want to file an insurance claim or they're worried about their rates and things like that going up. And and then that's when I explain, the statute of limitations. If you don't file a claim, and your rates are going to go up anyways, so why would you want to pay for everybody else's new roof and not get one yourself? It doesn't make sense to me. You've been paying, insurance for what, 10, 15, 20 years? You know how many roofs you've bought in that time? I mean, so yeah, let me check it out for you. I'll see what's going on. I'll tell you what you need to do. I would go inspect the roof and then come back down and I'd say, here's what I found, and this is what you need to do. You definitely need to call your insurance company. I never can promise you that you're going to get your roof totaled. I can tell you in every single storm, you're gonna have people that get a new roof that shouldn't have, and you're gonna have people that don't get a new roof that should have. The insurance company is all powerful in this. You can definitely be an advocate and help people, but the reality is there's no standard in the industry. There's no standard within a company. I had State Farm guy telling me 12 hits in a 10 by 10 area was considered total. I had another guy say 50. And everything in between. And every time it was something different. And I would tell them every time, I don't get this. Why is it different every time? You know, but I was nice that the adjusters, when you get to that process, there's no reason to be argumentative or push or anything like that, because they're going to do what they do. And if they don't total it, I would always try to get the homeowner to get a reinspection. I had 20 re-inspections. I got 18 roofs totaled. When you do that once, everybody they know that had their adjuster out and they said no, they tell them to call you. Oh, let's go get your roof totaled. How do you need to call Spencer? Got a lot of business out of that. That blows up quick. And that's a little bit down the process. The biggest thing is, again, when we get there, what you need to do is get out and knock doors. And it's amazing, because I had a large percentage of people that I could get to sign a contract right after I met them. And subconsciously, you think that's tough. And they're going to be uncomfortable. Everybody's uncomfortable. Anytime you buy something, you get uncomfortable. Over about $50. If you spend more than about $50, if you go into Best Buy to buy a washer and dryer, and you're there to buy a washer and dryer, you still get uncomfortable when you actually buy it. Even though you made a decision before you went there, you're going to do it. It's just human nature. The key to selling something like that is they have to get uncomfortable, or they're not invested. They're not really even thinking about doing it. If they're not uncomfortable, you haven't sold it, for sure. But the key is they have to be uncomfortable, because they're actually thinking about doing this. And you have to not be uncomfortable. Because if you're uncomfortable, then they think you're shady. Even though it may be, it's 2 weeks and I haven't closed the deal yet and I'm stressing out, they don't know why you're uncomfortable, but if you're not confident and comfortable, then they're afraid you're trying to rip them off. People are scared of salespeople. They think that they lie and cheat and steal and everything else. And the key to this, though, is we don't, and we can't, and it's not to their advantage to get a lesser expensive roof. That does not benefit them. Your biggest objection will be, I want to bid. Well, why do you want to bid? Well, every time I ever buy anything, I know what the price is, I'm paying for it. You're not buying it. What do you mean? Your insurance company's paying for it. That's a dangerous thing, but I said it a lot. You say it in the right way. And the key, though, is you're saving your insurance company money, you're not doing anything that benefits yourself, and you're going to get a lesser product or lesser quality of work. Because there's a reason that they're going to do it cheaper. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to tell you, I didn't sell price, I didn't sell material like the other guy did. He would promise material before he... No, I told him, here's what I'm going to do. Let me tell you what I do. The first thing we need to do is we need to get your roof totaled. That's the first thing that has to happen. Until that happens, nothing else matters. The next thing that's going to happen is they're going to write an estimate. You don't need a bid from me. You need the insurance company to write their estimate. Because we need to see what they're going to pay you. But then I'm going to take that estimate, and I guarantee you they will not have everything in there that you should be paid. I absolutely guarantee it. Every single job I did ever, I got more money. Now, sometimes it was $1,000, and my highest was $40,000. I took a claim from $23,000 to $63,000. I redid their entire house. Roof, gutters, siding, paint, I got an email from them last week. Every time I drove up to my house, I think about what you did for me. I made $11,000 on that deal. And I do not feel guilty at all. Because they didn't pay anything. They got everything that they wanted, and they got it, and we did the work right, and they're thrilled with what they got. And the only person that lost out was the insurance company, if you will. I don't know. I mean, it was a $60,000 job. We mean profit, and we don't do this for free. So, I've sold cars before. When you sell a card sticker, you're excited, but you also feel like an asshole because you know the guy just paid $3,000 more than the guy that you sold one to the day before. That bothered me. I guess I have a little bit of a conscience or morals or whatever you want to call it. This, I didn't ever feel that way. I was helping people. When I made more money, I gave them more. They benefited from it. It was a win-win. The insurance companies are not hurting. They're still running commercials and spending millions of dollars, and they're not hurting at all. And we all get ripped off by them for everything.
Yep.
So I'm gonna, I have no problem getting my money from them at all. It's why I like the job so much, or a lot of it. I took the job for the money, but then when I realized that I was actually helping people while I was making money, I was like, wow. I mean, I never felt satisfied in law enforcement. We were not effective. Politics. It was ridiculous. And but I did it because I wanted to do something that mattered. I'm putting on new roofs. I mean, a house is people's biggest, it's their biggest asset, investment, whatever you want to call it. It was very rewarding. Like just feeling good, and then the bank account didn't hurt either, for sure. Any questions right off the bat?
Quite a few, but I have one. I don't want to miss it again. We really have to go to the restroom.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
Thank you. Do you know where it is?
I think that it's just out here to the left.
Okay, I'll hurry.
No, that's fine. Any questions?
When's the next storm supposed to hit?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, I don't know if there's been a storm pretty much every day for the last 2 weeks. And I keep getting text messages, are we going to this, are we going to that? And I'm like, the key to this is picking the right storm. First of all, one of the storms that, it killed people and all kinds of crazy stuff, but it was in the middle of nowhere, Kansas and Missouri. Hays, Kansas, I think, 300 people or 5,000 people, whatever it is. It's not a big enough area for us to go, is my point with that. There is supposed to be a huge storm tomorrow, and it's middle northeast area. I have a swath that what they're expecting to happen. It goes from the coast to Illinois. It's huge. That could definitely produce a huge opportunity, but I don't know yet. Obviously, it's just projected. One of the big keys with this is picking the right storm, and that's my boss has been doing this a long time, and due to the fact that I was so successful last year as a salesperson, and I've done so well with recruiting this year, I'm going to get the first big, good storm. It won't be in the South. I guarantee you that.
Too hot?
What's that?
Too hot?
No, too low profit.
Low profit, yeah.
Yeah. Farther north, more money.
Mm-hmm.
Right or wrong, it's the way it is. We did, Dallas operated at 20-25% profit. Never worked in Texas before. Texas get hit every year. High deductibles. They know the game. You don't make very good profit. Kansas City, same thing, 20-25% profit. Not great. Chicago, they operated about 40% profit. New York operated about 40% profit. Tennessee, maybe 30% profit. But last year in Knoxville, we went a month late, and like 2 salespeople went, and then they hired a couple local people. The other 2 big companies that do this did about $40 million there. We kind of missed the boat on that. We didn't have the people. You know, like myself, I didn't even consider leaving Kansas City. I didn't have all my money, but I had all my business. I knew I was going to be successful there. To up and leave didn't make sense. I highly recommend, unless we go somewhere where there's old damage or something like that, and it'll be more of a, hey, if you want to come, I'm going to go here and we're going to start working a little bit until we get a storm. Probably not going to be an issue because I think there's going to be one sooner than later. Other than something like that, I highly recommend that you get there and bust your ass at the beginning and don't even consider leaving. If a storm hits New York, it's higher profit, but you've got 100 people you're working with. It doesn't make sense to go. That's the situation I was in last year.
Are they normally all the same roof in a certain area? Or
Yeah,
how does that work?
Yes. Most of the country is composite roofs, and usually they're, like a 30-year is kind of an average. In Texas, $500,000 houses have 30-year composite roofs. I was putting on a lot of designer shingles, expensive stuff, because they had wood shake. Wood shake pays very well. It's more expensive. But then you have to redeck, because wood shake has space decking. So without the decking, you can't go to asphalt. So that cost is not paid for by the insurance company. But due to the fact that wood shake's more expensive, you can still get a pretty expensive composite roof, even with the redecking. If that makes sense at all.
Well, do you give them options?
I don't. I don't until later. Now, unless, okay, I know based on the insurance paperwork, I'm already at 30% profit or greater for what they want. Yeah, absolutely. But I'm going to try to get 50% profit, and I'm going to tell them I'm going to go get more money. And I'm going to give you the roof you want, but I want you to understand I'm going to get more money. And when I get $10,000, then they go, oh, wait a second. Can I keep some of that? No, you can't. Happens a lot. It's one downside, if you will, to successfully bumping claims up. I did have a few people. The only people that didn't like me are the people that didn't want to pay me. And I wouldn't put up with that. I busted my ass for people last year. I got them everything I could to their benefit as well as mine. But when it came time to pay me, every dollar they paid you for the roof is mine. First of all, if I invoice the insurance company and they don't pay me that, it's fraud. Period. And I tell them, it's a felony.
Who gets the check? Who do they make
They
check
send
out
the
to?
check to the homeowner typically. I did have a couple checks that had the roofing company on them. Collections can be a little bit of it is part of the job, and sometimes it can be a little bit of a pain. For the most part, most of the time, if you're around when the build's going, you don't have to have anything to do with actually physically building the roof. We have crews that do that. We schedule that. We get a production manager. That's not your job. Your job, though, is to make sure that the materials are there because you order them. And if they need more, you need to get them there somehow, whether you do it or we had runners last year. I don't know what the situation will be for sure this year. You can sometimes just pay the crew or the supplier. It's up to you. There's a lot of ways to do it. But what you are is you're the face to the homeowner. They're buying you. They're not buying affiliated, or if we set as a local company, which we do sometimes, like last year I worked as Liberty Roofing. They're buying you. And so if there's a problem when the crew does something or something breaks or whatever, they want to talk to you. And if you talk to them, and you take care of it, when it's time to collect the money, it's easy. I collected all my money within 45 days. The average was over 90 days. Because I answered the phone, I didn't call who I needed to call, and took care of the problem. So when I went to get my money, it wasn't a problem. The guys that had a problem were the ones that signed a deal, sold a deal, turned it in, and just forgot about it. Didn't deal with it. Didn't answer the phone. Didn't show up. I'd be at one job and I'd get a call from the homeowner around the corner. I'll be there in 5 minutes. Wait a minute, I was at their house. I don't really have to do anything a lot of the time other than listen to them. Okay, when we're done, if there's anything, you know, we need to fit, we'll take care of it. I had 2 roofs leak. One, crew cut the vent holes, didn't put the vents on. Wasn't supposed to rain, and it did. And it rained in the house, through the kitchen to the basement. 9 a.m. on a Monday morning, or Sunday morning, I get a call. Water's coming through my ceiling in my kitchen, you know. Not happy, understandably. I called my production manager, and 2 of my roommates and I were there within like 30 minutes. We didn't do anything other than say, we're gonna fix it all. It'll be right. You're not paying me, you haven't paid me, so, you know, you don't have to pay me until it's fixed. I promise it'll all be taken care of. We brought a guy in. He and the homeowner and us all negotiated exactly what was gonna be done. Fixed it. Dude happily gave me a check a week later. You know, and that's why I didn't have a problem collecting money. Other than a couple people that I got a lot of extra money for, and they wanted some of it. And I had a lady short me $4 grand. And I knew when she gave me the check, it was wrong, but I didn't know how wrong it was. I didn't know details. I had my stuff at the office. For whatever reason, I usually carried my stuff in the car, but I didn't. We carried around boxes with all the paperwork. Y'all don't have to do that. Buy an iPad. I'm telling you, if you come do this, buy an iPad. Right now, it only works with Apple, so buy an iPad. It's worth every penny with the new software. I didn't have that, so I was carrying around paperwork. I went back to the office, I looked at it, I was like, that's not right. I was back at her house 15 minutes later, and I stood in her driveway and I told her, you're going to give me the rest of the money. And she tried to argue. Well, and this is the reason I was really furious. They only totaled half a roof. But because she was in my neighborhood and she was friends with with the other people I worked with, I told her, let me see what I can do. I didn't make any agreement with her. I went back to the office. I said, okay, $6,000 based on the insurance paperwork, $6,000, I can do your roof. She signed the contract. All my contracts normally said insurance, scope, and proceeds. That means if they total your roof, I'm going to fix everything they said needed to be fixed, and you're going to give me all of the money they gave you for it. That's the contract. It's not worth anything legally, really, but psychologically, you have an agreement. I only lost 1 deal that somebody had signed a contract. I lost like 4 that I worked with that didn't have a signed contract. I would never do that again. I learned my lesson. This is not worth your time. There's 80,000 claims. Move on to somebody else. But $6,000, I supplemented it enough to cover the $6,000 and got another $5,000 to $10,000. And I told her, if I get the 6, you don't have to pay me. Oh yeah, plus $6,000. All right. So said if I get the 6, you don't have to pay me. But anything above that's mine. But I got a lot above it, and she's like, well, that doesn't make sense. Why are you getting all this money? Because the insurance company paid me. So I got them to pay them. Anyways, long story short, she ended up writing me a check for $3 grand after I wasn't very nice. I'm not gonna lie. I was very upset. The lady had, her insurance company paid for half her roof, and I got her a new roof with 0 money out of her pocket, and she tried to keep money. When I finally got it profitable, because I was break even. I was doing it because the people across the street I made 9 grand on, and the guy over here I made 5 grand on, and I made $1,000 on this one and $10,000 on that one, and it all evened out, and I'm okay with that. If their insurance doesn't pay, they don't pay. I'm okay with having a little bit lower profit. But if I get it up to profitable, I deserve the money. So anyways, long story short is she gave me $3,000. I realized she still shorted me $1,500. I sent her an email and she mailed the rest of it in. I had one people call my GM and said, please don't let him come back to our house, he scared us. But again, I collected all my jobs in 45 days and I didn't really lose a dime. And I'm not saying to be mean or anything like that. I'm just saying if you're involved and you work hard, you know, and you know, if I have to sit in somebody's driveway and say you owe me money, I'm going to. Because going to court and all that, by the time you do all that, you know, you're spending most of the money fighting it. So, not usually a big problem. Real quick, I know I'm probably going long. Yeah.
Good.
Okay. So that's kind of an overview. Back to the actual sale. I had, you know, I didn't even bring it. Objections. I usually do a little role play thing, but I didn't bring my list of objections. But I can go through it anyways. Typically, the biggest objection again is I want to.
I'll read them off to you.
Oh, you got them?
I'll find it.
Oh yeah, one of y'all.
On that sheet, such and such.
No, you know, I didn't think I sent it to y'all.
I remember getting that.
I have it, I'm sure, on my phone too.
You sent us a script that had some of the objections in it.
Yeah, I just wrote up some myself.
How much of your sales come from referrals? Would you say?
Mine? Out of 45 jobs, probably 15 to 20.
So, what's that?
Yeah. Excuse me.
Okay, there we go.
Got it?
First objection.
Well, here, do this. Come up here with me. I'm going to sell you. I just want to go through a few of these because honestly, if you can do this first two things, when you could literally leave tomorrow and start working. I mean, this is all you have to do in phase one, which is all you need to worry about when you start this job. I sold, my GM used to joke, I didn't know anything about roofing, you know, I was talking about decking and composite roofs and designer shingles and all that. When I started selling, I knew nothing. I didn't spend the time I probably should have with that stuff. I learned audio visual better than reading stuff. I looked through it, but I didn't really absorb it. But my GM, he'd been doing this 10 years. His joke was I'd sold $500,000 in roofing and didn't know what drip edge was. I don't know who of you do or don't know what drip edge is. It's just little metal stripping. It's on the edge of the roof behind the gutters. Yeah, and I didn't, probably, because I didn't sell the roof. I didn't sell the price. I sold that I'm an insurance expert. That's it. And even before I was an insurance expert, I worked for insurance experts. And I knew by the time I got to that part of the process, they were going to help me. So even though, I guess it was a slight deceit, if you will, it was true in the fact that what they're buying me, but what they were getting is what I said they were getting. They're getting insurance experts. Very quickly, I became an insurance expert. Still not a super expert in technical roofing, but I definitely know how to get money out of insurance companies, for sure. So, I'm just gonna knock, do the, you know, like, hey,
What do you need?
yeah, how's it going? My name is Spencer Bickert. I'm with Affiliated Roofing. And have you had your roof checked out yet?
No, why?
You remember the storm like 2 weeks ago, hail storm? Several of your neighbors'
Oh,
roofs
yeah.
have been
Yeah.
totaled.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have not checked it out
No,
then?
no.
Cool. Well, you want me to take a look at it for you?
Do you got any credentials? I don't need you, I got kids around here.
Sure. I got
I have no idea who you are.
Yeah. I'm on business card right here.
Okay.
Hey, you can check us out. Hey,
All right, let me
Randy,
check you out real quick on the internet, see if this is a legit.
Yeah,
All
sure.
right, check you out. Sure, go ahead.
All right, man, I'm just gonna take a look at it and I'll come back down.
Okay,
And I'll talk to you when I'm done.
all right.
That was obviously really easy, but yes.
So you actually get up and look at their roofs just like that?
Mhm.
Do you have a ladder with you or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
No grappling hooks?
No. You know, the three things you absolutely have to do this job is a cell phone, a ladder, and a vehicle. Now, depending on where you are, Kansas City had very high roofs. Every market's different, bigger, smaller, higher, cut up, not cut up. I mean, you never know what you're going to get, is what I'm getting at. I was planning to go to work in a car because we had 2 cars. And I bought a ladder from Home Depot that folded up, and it was like 18, 19 feet ladder, I think. I called a buddy of mine who got there early, and he said, dude, you need a 28-foot ladder here, or you're not going to be able to sell the big jobs. So the day I left, I went and bought a truck I couldn't afford at 16% interest because I had a bankruptcy from a business that failed. And I drove to Kansas City crapping my pants because I didn't have an option to fail. I was really put us in a very difficult situation if I did not succeed. And having said that, the other guy that sold 1.3 million worked out of the car until the last month. Now, he paid other people to help him do ladder assist as well. I hope we don't have people that are not making any money, so they're willing to do ladder assist for other people. That may be a possibility. Working out of a car with a fold-up ladder, in some markets will work fine. Real quick though, I would only inspect the roof at that time if I wasn't in that prime time, 4 to 8. At least, I would try not to inspect the roof in that prime time, 4 to 8. I would try to get an appointment. I would even do this. I would set an appointment for the next day. Well, I'm going to be at work. Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to come by and look at your roof, and I'll meet you. What time do you get home? 5 o'clock, okay. So that 30 minutes that it takes me to inspect the roof, I'm doing during a time when there's not as many people home rather than during prime time when most people are at their house. Everything I did, I analyzed it from a point of, is what I'm doing right now making me money? Is what I'm doing right now preventing me from making more money? So I tried to organize and schedule appointments during the daytime. And it varied on whether I could do it. Now, sometimes people are like, nah, I want you to look, yeah, okay, man, I'm doing it. You know, if that guy's motivated like that, I'm going to do it right then.
You don't do it at night.
Well, not once it's dark. Yeah.
Oh, raining.
But I'm talking like 4 or 5. Raining, true. But daytime, you know, if somebody's home in the daytime, sure, I'll take a look at it. I'm going to come and sit down with you as long as you want to talk. I'm not in a hurry. There's nowhere to be. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong, you can get stuff done during the day, but it's obviously not as good as evening and Saturday. Saturday's great. Sunday, hit or miss.
But you're not coming back with an estimate, right? I mean,
No, I wasn't doing an estimate, but I was getting a signed contract,
okay.
and I'm going to do that.
Okay.
I'm giving you an objection or two, and then I'll do the finishing, like what I would do after I get off the roof.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Spencer Pickard with Affiliated Roofing. Have you had your roof checked out yet?
No.
No? Well, I'd like to check it out for you. I know I've been on some of your neighbors' roofs, and they're totaled, they're getting new roofs. Is that all right with you?
Okay, what do you need to do?
Well, I'm just gonna take a look at it. I'm gonna take some pictures of the damage.
You got all your insurances,
Yeah, we
all
have-
of that, licensing.
Yeah, we're
You
licensed.
break your leg on my leg, Brian, I need a business card to hold on to
Yeah,
while you do that. Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead, don't hurt yourself.
All right. I'll be back in like 20, 30 minutes.
Okay.
What do we got in here?
First one is I don't have any leaks, so I think my roof is
Yeah, give me
fine.
some of those. Like, say that when I ask you.
I don't have any leaks, so I think my roof is fine.
Well, you know what? The weird thing about it is that you're actually, a lot of times with the hail damage, it's not going to leak right away. It might not leak for a year or two. So you definitely want to get it checked out because you know, if you don't file a claim within 1 to 2 years, that you have a statute of limitations with your insurance company.
But I can't see any holes up on there.
Oh no, I understand that, but trust me, you know, I'm an expert at this, and I can't see damage from
Oh, so there could be cracks up there and stuff that I
They're
can't see?
weak areas, exactly, and what happens is over time, they may start leaking. And what'll happen is, if you don't file a claim within the 1 to 2 year statute of limitations, depending on your insurance company, when that leaks and damages your interior of your house, and then obviously you need to do roof work as well.
Yeah, but if it's just a little bit of water, who cares?
No, I
A little bit
understand.
of water that gets up in there, a little water up there is not gonna hurt anything.
Well, I mean, it is actually, you can get mold, which can be bad for your family's health.
Oh.
But
makes
yes,
sense.
and it can be expensive, very expensive.
Oh,
And
I
the-
forgot termites. Termites, because of the moisture up there, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, please check it out. If there's cracks up there, I'm sure water's gonna get in, or snow will melt later.
That-
Snow and ice will melt later
Absolutely.
and get into the house.
And the biggest thing too is that your insurance company will not pay for anything. The leak, the interior damage, anything, if you don't file that claim within the statute of limitations.
Okay, but how much of this is gonna come out of my pocket?
Well, your deductible, do you know what your deductible is?
Yeah, I think it's like, maybe $1,000.
About $1,000. Well, I mean, you're probably looking at a $20,000 roof right here. You know, $1,000 to get a new roof is, I don't know, it's a pretty good deal.
Okay, yeah, but you're gonna want a deposit, you're gonna
No.
want any cash?
Absolutely not. Actually, what we do is this. First thing we need to do is get your roof totaled.
Right.
Okay, once the insurance company totals your roof, they're gonna write an estimate.
Mhm.
And when they get that estimate to you, you're gonna call me, I'm gonna come pick it up, and I'm gonna go through it, and I'm gonna see what they missed. Anything that they missed on there, I'm gonna add it in and make sure they're using current pricing. Every claim I've ever done, I've gotten more money, whether it's $1,000 or $40,000. I don't know where yours will be, but I can tell you this, I'm gonna get you as much money as I possibly can, so I can give you the best roof I can with their money.
Shouldn't I call my insurance company first and see if you're on their preferred list?
Well, actually, you know, your insurance company cannot dictate who you use to fix your roof. Sometimes they have preferred roofers, but all that is that they have an agreement with that roofing company to do the work for less. So whereas what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at your claim, I'll make sure they pay you right. Because you don't want a cheaper roof, you want a better roof, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
And that's what I offer you. I mean, it's not gonna cost you more money. You know, your
Okay,
deductible is the same.
where are you guys in town? How long you guys been working in this area?
Well, actually, we came
I've
after the
never heard of
storm.
you.
Yeah, we came after the storm. I'm one of those storm chasers. But let me tell you something about
Well,
that.
I'd rather have a local guy do it.
Well-
Just forget it.
No, I understand that, but hear me out for a second. I've been on several roofs that local guys have already been on, and they said there was like $500 or $600 damage, and I got the roof total. Now they're getting a $20,000 new roof. The problem with local companies, and it's not anything bad about them, they don't understand insurance. We're insurance experts. We travel around the country after storms, and I know that you hear things about storm chasers. We're not those guys. We've been around 25 years. We have an A rating.
Oh, you didn't tell me that, yeah. So you've
And
been around and so this is what you
this is
specialize in?
what we
this?
specialize, absolutely.
Because I've never seen a roofer, I don't even know any roofers in this town.
Exactly. And
Is
the
there
thing-
enough roofers around here that are already established here?
Oh, there's no way they can handle all the work.
How many
Absolutely.
claims do you think are gonna happen in this area?
Probably about 80,000.
And how many roofers do you probably think are in this city?
You know, I don't know the number on that. What I will tell you is this.
Could it be that
Your
much?
insurance company is probably going to be sending a guy out that's not from here. They brought guys in from all over the country because of the amount of damage. And it's the same thing with the roofing. The big difference between us and the local company is we understand insurance. They're typically doing rebuild work, they're doing new build work and repair work. And they don't understand what is required for a roof to be totaled. They don't understand how to make sure you get paid right.
I talked to my local agent, and he says that I need to get multiple bids from companies.
Yeah, local agents, they complicate the issue. The reality is you definitely need to call.
Aren't they experts in roof damage from major hailstorms?
No, actually, the local agents just sell insurance, is all they do. What you want to do is you need to talk to your claims number. They'll send an adjuster out, and the adjuster is going to be the expert on what needs to be done with your roof. Now, still, you have to keep in mind, the insurance company wants to minimize the amount of money they have to spend, right? Well, that's not to your benefit. You want to maximize the amount of money you get, so you get the best roof you can with their money.
That makes sense, because I've been living here for 20 years, and I think when I was a kid, it was the last time a big hailstorm came through here, so maybe my agent doesn't know that much.
Well, the reality is local agents actually lose money if you file claims. The claims people don't, it doesn't affect you, your insurance, but they actually, they have a reason to discourage you from filing claims or minimizing the cost. Because it actually affects them financially.
I'm gonna probably check with my neighbors and see what they tell me.
Well, I'll tell you, again, if you call your claims hotline and get your adjuster out of here, I want to be here when they come out. And I'll make sure that they record all the damage properly, and once they write that estimate, I'm going to go and make sure that they pay you properly.
All right, let me get this straight. Tell me the process here. You wanna go inspect my roof?
Correct.
Then what are you gonna do?
I'm going to come in and talk to you about what I found.
All right, do I gotta give you a check?
No,
Credit card?
no, nothing.
Okay, so then
Once it's totaled,
Okay.
and I maximize the claim, we know how much money we have, then we're going to pick the roof out.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'm going to give you the best roof I can with that money.
Mhm.
And what's going to happen then is we're going to build the roof. We're going to redo your roof. The day I finish the roof, you have to give me the first check from the insurance company.
Okay, so I need to contact my insurance company now?
Right, and then I'm going to meet the adjuster.
Okay, so it sounds like the insurance company is pretty much making the determination on what the damage is gonna be in your,
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be your advocate. I'm going to make sure that they properly record the damage.
oh, will you be out here when
Absolutely.
the insurance
Absolutely.
agent comes out here?
Absolutely.
So you're gonna get up on the roof with them?
Absolutely.
Okay. Why would the adjuster not just maximize it? Why do I need you to maximize it?
Well, I mean, the
why can't you do
adjuster,
it for
the
me?
insurance company and the adjuster, they all benefit from, not paying more than they have to.
That makes sense. Okay. All right.
That's most of the ejections, right? So after I inspect the roof, after you get through that part of the process, I want to bid, whatever, I don't do bids. I tried to explain it 3 times, I don't think we did that one, but I'm going to do it real quick. Bids. First thing is, I don't do bids. Why do you want to bid? Doesn't benefit you. All right, I just want to, now I want to show you what we're going to do, or what you'll do, after you've done your inspection on the roof. So I'm going to do a role play on that. All right, Mr. McLean, I just got done taking a look at your roof, and you definitely have damage up there. Based on what I saw on your roof and what I've seen in your neighbors' roofs and all that, I definitely think your roof is totaled, meaning that they're going to replace your roof. But I can never guarantee that. That is up to the adjuster. So, like I said before, you need to contact your claims hotline. And you need to let them know that you have damage from the storm on April 11th. And they'll set up an adjustment. As soon as that gets set up, I need you to notify me so I can be there when the adjuster comes out. I'll clear my schedule of other appointments as long as it's not an adjustment, because I definitely want to be there. If we don't get there, if I don't meet them at the time that they say, it could be several weeks or months before they come out again. So I just want to show you here on my iPad. I want to show you here the pictures of the damage on the roof. You see, that's hits on the roof, and it varies from adjuster to adjuster and insurance company to insurance company. They set their own rules. Mm-hmm. But based on the amount of hits I'm seeing in a 10 by 10 area, which is a square, that's how everything with roofing is dealt. It looks like you've got 3 slopes that are totaled, and if you have over 2, typically they're going to total your roof. Again, I can't promise you that's going to happen, but that's what I found up there. Now, what I have here is it's just a very, very basic agreement, and all it says is what you have on your roof now, and then we'll figure out later on what exactly we're going to go back with. And this section right here is really what you need to pay attention to. What I'm going to do is this. I'm going to do the work based off of your insurance scope and proceeds. Now, technically, you legally have to pay your deductible.
I don't know if I can do that right now these days,
Understood. Do you know how much your deductible is?
I'll probably check, but I think it's probably between $1,000 to $1,500. I'm not sure.
Okay. Like I said, technically you do have to pay it, but if that's a problem right now, there are some ways that we might be able to work around that. I did notice you have gutter damage, but it's really just a visual thing. It's functionality. They're still going to work. They just have some dents in them. Mm-hmm. So you might, if you choose to use some of that money to cover the amount that the roof is, you know, above what they're paying, your deductible. I mean, that's kind of a legal way to get around it. So I might be willing to, you know, we could look at something like that if that would help you out.
All right, we'll see. Sounds like a plan. We'll see.
Okay.
I might just pay it. I mean, it's just right
Well,
now I'm low on cash and I don't get paid until next week. And
Oh yeah, well it's going to be several weeks till we get to that point.
oh,
Because the way this works is this: what's going to happen is after the first thing we have to do is get the roof totaled. Once that actually happens, then they're going to do an estimate, and then when they do that estimate, I'm going to take it back to my office. I'm going to go through that estimate. I'm going to find anything that they left off and add it in, make sure they paid you right. You know, when I'm out with the adjuster, I'm going to make sure that he records all the damage fairly and give you the best chance of getting your roof totaled. And once I get all of the, you know, I maximize that claim, then I'm going to give you the best roof I can with their money. But all this basic agreement right here, all this says is that if they total, you know, once they total your roof, that I'm going to do all the work the way that they said it needs to be done, or we negotiate that it needs to be done. And I'm going to do it for the amount of money that we negotiate that they're going to pay for the roof, plus your deductible. So if you'll just sign right there, we can get going.
I can't sign now. I mean, I'm a little uncomfortable with signing this right now. You know, I think I need to have my wife review it. I don't know. I'm just not comfortable with signing this right now. I mean, what am I obligated to here after signing? So
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. You're not obligated. Excuse me. You're not obligated to anything unless the insurance company actually totals your roof,
okay.
and then you're only obligated to give me the
What do
money.
you mean? What do you mean totals my roof?
Well, that means that they're going to actually pay to replace your entire roof, and that's usually determined by having 2 or more slopes, which is sides of the roof,
Okay.
that are totaled. They consider a total loss, then they'll do a total loss on the whole roof, and that's
What if they don't do the entire roof? Total it.
If they don't do the entire roof, then you know, the first thing we will do at that point is we'll ask for another adjuster to come out. I've had 20 roofs that in the past that I've brought the adjuster back out, and I got 18 of them totaled the second time they were out. So that's the first thing that we can do. And if that doesn't work, then we can look at it and see if there's a way we can get your roof done with the amount of money that they're giving you. But
Will
you know, that's
will
down
this
the road.
cost me more money out of my pocket?
No,
Outside of my deductible?
you won't be obligated to. I mean, if that situation arises, I'm going to come back, I'm going to talk to you, and you can decide if you want to spend the money, if you want to just do repairs instead of trying to fix the whole roof. It'll be your choice. This only obligates you if they do a total loss on your roof.
Okay, so no matter what, the only thing that's coming out of my pocket to get a new roof is the deductible.
Correct, as long as the insurance company pays, and if they don't pay, you're not obligated to actually do it. Does that make sense?
Okay. What's to stop you from getting paid by my insurance company and then leaving town without doing any work?
Oh yeah. Well, here's the thing. We don't get any money until the work is complete. Now, when you get that first check from the insurance company, because they're going to give you 2 checks. The first one's going to be the ACV. I mean, I'm sorry, the ACV, the actual cash value of the roof. You know, that first part, you give that to me when we finish the work, and then the rest of it doesn't come until I send the
Wait. That doesn't make sense to me. I just had a patio done, and I had to pay the contractor half up front. He finished it, and then I paid him the other half.
Yeah.
You're telling me you're gonna completely finish the roof? You're gonna pay for the labor,
Yep.
the materials, before you get any money?
Absolutely. That's how we do business. And the reason is we know that I'm going to know that the insurance company is paying before we do it. You just don't have to actually give me the money toward that.
Wow, I had, yeah, I'm sorry, I had no idea. I was kind of like,
Yeah.
I thought you were trying to get me to do something that
No,
didn't
no.
seem.
The great thing about this is that you have the money, so you know we've done the work and you're happy with the work, and then you give me the check.
Okay, so sounds like the more money that you get to get me the better roof. I guess not only does it get me a better roof and better quality, but I guess it's an incentive for you to maximize the claim.
Yeah, I mean, like anything else, if it's more expensive, there's usually a little bit more profit in it.
Or,
So, absolutely. And you know, the thing is that we work for insurance proceeds, so I may make a little more on your job or a little less on your job so I can get it done the way you want it.
uh-huh.
You know, but the neighbor, you know, I'll make more or less on it. It just kind of all evens out.
Okay, so it makes sense now. Now I understand why I don't need to go get multiple bids.
Right. I mean, it doesn't do you any good to minimize that claim. It's going to mean that you're going to be...
Well, it's not my money, it's the insurance company's money.
Exactly. Exactly.
So-
and you want the best roof you can get, and that's what I'm going to fight for you.
Okay, because when I had my patio done,
Mm.
you know, I might live in this house for 5, I just don't need a really super great patio.
Right.
I'm looking, that's why I got 3 bids, and I went with the cheapest because I really don't care about how nice my patio is.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I get this. I want the best possible roof done. I've been paying my deductibles for 20 some years. Yeah, I want the very best roof. I don't want any water getting into my attic. So okay, it makes
Yeah,
sense.
this is and that's
This is risk free to me.
awesome. Yeah, just sign right there and initial by the other part there, and we're good to go. All right, now remember, you need to call your claims hotline.
All right, let me
Yeah.
make a list of the things I need to do,
Yeah, you call
because
your,
otherwise I'll forget.
call your claims hotline, not your agent, and then they will send an adjuster out. Actually, they'll have an adjuster call you and schedule an appointment. When that adjuster calls you, you call me and tell me when it is.
Okay.
Or you can have them call me directly, and they will usually.
Okay.
Once that adjustment's set up, I clear my schedule, I'll be there to make sure they record the damage properly. Once that's done, that's when I'm gonna go into the phase where I maximize your claim. Once all that's done, we'll talk about exactly what we're gonna put on. And then we'll get the work done, and when the work's done, then you pay us, once you're happy with everything.
Okay. So yeah, you come collect when everything's done.
Right.
I'll have the check ready,
Right.
and
You'll need to get that check cleared through your mortgage company. Usually they're on both, one or both of the checks. So when you get that check, if you want, I can help you with that process. I'll come by and get it. And they're still gonna send it back to you, but I'll help you get it submitted to get it, the mortgage company to sign off on it, so that they give you the money, and then you can pay me once it's complete.
okay. Now, I know I'm stuck with this, but I guess my rates are gonna go up now.
Well,
because I gotta
actually,
make this claim.
the rates are gonna go up by zip code, because this is not.
Well, it's not my fault.
Exactly. So what happens is, rates will go up by zip code, and your rates go up almost every year anyways. So you want to go ahead and get this claim and get a new roof, because if not, you're paying more money for everybody else's new roof, and you don't get one.
Okay. All right. Something doesn't seem right here.
What's that?
Okay, I know you guys are just in town. You've never worked here before. You guys don't work here. What if my roof starts leaking
Actually,
next year? What happen? What are
you
you
can
gonna
call me directly, or you can call the company.
do? Uh-huh.
But we have a lifetime warranty now
Wait,
on our
wait.
work.
You're guaranteeing for life?
The workmanship. Now the materials are guaranteed based on the manufacturer.
Okay.
So if there's a problem with the actual materials we use, the manufacturer would be the one holding the warranty on that. What we're guaranteeing is if we made a mistake in the way we put the roof on and it caused any problems, whatever that was, we're going to come fix it. And anything that might have happened along the way.
So Affiliated will come and fix that.
Correct. Or one of our partners in the network will.
Oh, so you're partnering. You have other companies.
Right.
that
That
are
we
within-
that we all kind of do some things together, and one of them is the warranty.
Okay.
But we're going to have somebody come out to fix your roof if there's any issues. Now, typically, you're gonna know like the first or second time it rains if we put the roof on. If we miss some caulking or whatever it might be, it's gonna leak the first time it rains, and we're gonna know, and then we're gonna come out. I mean, that doesn't happen often, but to say it never happens wouldn't be true. So if that happens, we're going to come out, we're going to fix it, we'll fix any interior damage to your specifications, and once you're happy, then we'll be done.
All right. Be honest with me. I'm gonna check you guys out with the Better Business Bureau
Yeah.
online.
Mhm.
What am I gonna say?
Well, we're A-rated by the Better Business Bureau.
You're A-rated.
Yes, and we've been around 25 years. We just, over the last couple of years, started doing residential, but we've done major commercial projects across the country for the last 25 years.
Oh, so you do commercial also?
We do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, big projects, millions and millions of dollars.
Okay. Wow, all right. It seems to me that I can't imagine, the local companies handling this, so it makes sense that.
But what you run into with local companies, they just don't know how the insurance process works. They don't know what damage looks like. They don't know what's required by the insurance to total a roof. And then they also aren't familiar with how to increase or maximize that claim like I told you I'm going to do for you. Now, I'm not guaranteeing you whether I'm going to get $1,000 or $40,000 more money. I'm going to get everything I can though, and I'm the best in my company at doing that. And that's what you're going to get. You're going to get the best opportunity to get the most money for your claim.
Okay, makes sense. So you're more of an insurance specialist than you
Exactly.
are as a roof specialist.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
What I'm going to do for you is I'm an insurance expert. I'm going to make sure that you get treated fair, that they total your roof if it should be. I mean, I don't have total control of that, but I definitely am going to be there to represent you and make sure that they record the damage. And then I'm going to maximize your claim and give you the best roof I can with them.
You're going to be on site when the insurance adjuster gets
Yeah,
here?
that's why I told you have to let me know when the adjuster's coming out.
Okay, because I've talked to my other neighbors. They said their roofer was not around for their
Yeah.
insurance adjuster.
That
So
happens.
affiliated,
That happens.
you guys will come and
I'll come, not affiliate. I will be there.
Okay, great. All right.
Cool. All right. So that's pretty much what I wanted to go over a little bit with. One thing I do want to mention is I don't even remember where I heard it, but I've heard it multiple times. The biggest reason salespeople don't close deals is they never ask for the sale. The key is no matter what the customer says to you, you still ask for the signature. You explain it's a basic agreement, that we're working for the insurance scope and proceeds, and they're really not at risk because we're working for the insurance money, not their money. All right, that's it.